here with Zayn Kalyan, the CEO of Infinity Stone Ventures. In case you haven't met them before, they're trading in Canada with the ticker symbol GEMS.CN. For our American friends, it's GEMSF. And it's about a month ago that we were in Toronto with a packed house at our live event, Deal Night. So those of you who were there, you got to meet Zayn already. Those of you who weren't, we're going to share this video recap for you. So Zayn, thanks a lot for taking some time to chat with us.
No, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back and happy to continue to give an update on the story. Lots has happened since that event in Toronto.
Yeah, so we can actually carve out some time for a quick recap. But for anyone who's new to the story here, why don't we just kick it off real simple? Tell us a little bit about Infinity Stone. What's the elevator pitch? What are you guys trying to do?
Yeah, so effectively we are a battery metals project generator. We really formed the company around the idea of building a platform for investment in the battery metals space, specifically in the exploration stage. We have 7 projects, all located in Quebec and Ontario, focused on kind of pushing all of them forward in the interim, with the eventual goal of dedicating capital to the ones that really show the most merit. But to date, probably our flagship is the property that we have next to Patriot Battery Metals Corvette discovery in James Bay, so northern Quebec. And then beyond that, we have a number of properties closer to infrastructure in southern Quebec, with the Galaxy Lithium project and the Zen Warbury Copper Cobalt project, our Copper Cobalt Gold project, and then beyond that, our Rockstone Graphite project near Thunder Bay in Ontario. So collectively, those are our core properties where we're actively deploying capital. We have a very active news flow. We're active in exploration on all of those projects as we speak. We're going to actually begin our first drill program since the inception of the company in the next 7 days. So that's exciting. And then beyond that, we're active in exploration and working towards drill programs on the other properties as we speak.
So in the battery metal space, I mean, it's obviously been a tough investor market. The battery metal space being one of the few kind of pockets of hope, if you will. So let's talk a little bit about the commodity in general. So like, what are you seeing in terms of commodity prices? What does demand look like? Give us a little bit of context there.
Yeah, so as you hit the nail on the head there, that lithium really is one of the only asset classes that's actually performing today. Battery metals kind of are this asset class that's getting a lot of love, not only from the investor market, from the market, but also in terms of investment and government support. So you'll see Biden last week announced a massive program to support EV manufacturing and building an EV supply chain in North America. And I think a lot of people are kind of seeing this space as one of the things that's going to drive a renaissance in manufacturing in North America. EVs are there needs to be a lot of things in place to really be able to support a market that's going to grow that quickly. And if we do believe that everyone's going to be driving an electric vehicle in the next 10, 15 years, there's going to be a lot of stuff that needs to happen. And one of those things is a lot more lithium mines, a lot more graphite. You're going to need to have all of the supply chain pieces that make sense to support that. And you almost see every day that there's another lithium battery plant being built, another lithium refinery being built, another graphite refinery being built. And investment from some of these car manufacturers directly into junior mining companies, which is some of the most exciting stuff for us particularly, and also for the investor. You're getting a lot of upside, a lot of potential to enter kind of an entirely new market where there's a lot of demand and a lot of growth and a lot of capital available to these companies. And we've been able to tap into that with our recent financing. The Australian market is a great place to be. We were able to get a significant amount of investment from a number of funds and Australian institutions. They have a lot of capital in their system. They're kind of probably 1 to 2 years ahead of us in terms of their lithium and battery metals market. And Canada's just starting to catch up, but we're seeing lots of growth. We're one of the only risk assets that's actually getting any love. So we want to continue to build on that.
So speaking of the Australian market, and let's talk about maybe some of your peer companies. So first off, who are some of your relevant peers that investors should look to, and what are you seeing in terms of demand for from investor demand for financing those companies?
Yeah, so I think you see in the market today that the only companies that are getting kind of large scale financings done are these lithium companies and other battery metals projects. But yeah, I'd say our closest comp that we like to compare ourselves to is Patriot Battery Metals. We like to kind of say that we're probably about a year behind them in terms of market cap, development of the projects, etc. They've put a considerable amount of time into the Corvette discovery, and we've been able to kind of get land that's adjacent to them, and we are building on that as we speak. We had the exploration team up there last month. We're just kind of working out next steps. We have a lot of samples out for assay that we're waiting to get back as well. So that'll kind of give a lot of catalyst for growth in the short term. But then beyond that, we're working on other projects that are closer to infrastructure, have lots of promise, really great initial indications, and we're going to continue to kind of put out more news as we get more data on those. And that gives lots of catalyst for growth to the investor. I think the fact that we're working on 3 or 4 projects is great. And I think, yeah, our peers are also performing really well. Patriot Battery Metals is a great kind of core peer, but there's lots of other players popping up almost on a daily basis. Nouveau Mon Graphite, which they're pioneers in the graphite space in Quebec. We kind of like them as a model to kind of show the opportunity for our graphite project in Ontario, which actually has significantly higher grade. Now, it's not nearly as large a potential deposit, but it does have very, very high grade, which makes it very economic, and we're active on that. We've refined the samples from that project already to battery grade, and we're continuing to build on that.
So if we were to look at those similar peers and talk about valuations, like how do you guys stack up in comparison to some of these companies?
Yeah, like I think we're very fairly valued. I think you see a lot of the Patriots and the Nouveau Mons have put a lot of meat on the bones over the past year, 2 years, and we're kind of maybe a year behind them, but that gives a lot of upside to the investor. So they're all trading north of $100 million market caps. We're kind of around that $20 to $30 million market cap, and I think we're at this stage now where we're ready to get to the next level. We're going to be putting out a lot of news. We have a lot of data out, a lot of assays out for that we're just waiting on results from, and then we're going to continue to do a ton of exploration over the next, call it 3 to 6 months.
And so I guess it's been so it was end of September when we were at deal night. So since then, I'm sure that as you said, you've been very active on news. Lots has happened. Do you want to maybe just do a quick recap, even if somebody was at the event and does know who you are? What's happened since then?
Yeah, yeah, it's almost I'm definitely going to miss something because we've had so many news releases since then. We've probably had 5 or 6 big kind of updates since that time, but probably the biggest one is actually that night immediately post the deal night presentation. I went and did a call with the funds in Australia, and that was the closing of the 2.1 million. So that's kind of been the first. That was the first big thing. But then beyond that, being active up at Patriot or in James Bay next to Patriot, we've been active there. Got kind of our initial results back. Found a focus area with the Hellcat Camaro claims. So the Hellcat claims are really where we're starting to spend a little bit more time. We actually expanded the area. We optioned some more land adjacent to that on the back of that exploration program. The commencement, we got our permits for our rockstone drilling. So that, as I said, will start in the next, call it 7 days. We can't start until November 3rd, I believe. So it'll be mid next week. Yeah, beyond that, I think we're active in Galaxy. Galaxy is a great lithium opportunity, 30 pegmatites, highly prospective, identified lepidolite in the past. We haven't actually been able to confirm that yet, but we are active there today. We've been on the property all last week. We have our team from Axiom is on the property all this week as well. So hopefully we'll get some great indications, and we'll get a bunch of samples that will go back for assay there. And on that property as well, we did expand it. We added more claims to it just because of the initial kind of opportunity that we saw.
So speaking of sampling, I'm wondering, obviously these are Canadian properties. So what's the seasonality look like? Is there a certain time of year when there's a hard stop, you just have to hibernate until spring, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so we've actually been really lucky in that respect. So where we're operating in Quebec and Ontario is awesome because we can operate all year round. It's located directly on roads, on the highways, right off the highways. It's not, access really isn't a problem in the winter. And actually in Quebec, they often like to drill in the winter because you can get the drills on sleds and on skids, and you can push them through the snow. So that gives a great opportunity, particularly where we're operating with the Galaxy and the Zen Warbury. Same kind of story on Rockstone as well. So we can operate all year round, which is awesome. But the problem where we thought we were going to have issues in operating throughout the winter was at James Bay. And what's been great is that Patriot is in the midst of building a winter road. So the drilling company that does all the drilling for Patriot is in the midst of building a winter road that they're commencing on November 1st. They have to have 3 drills into the property by the beginning of January on Patriot. So they'll have a whole bunch of infrastructure there that we can tap into. So we're hoping to be drilling in February in James Bay, which is awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, in that case, why not to kind of hammer it home? Final points here. Why don't we, shameless pitch to the audience? Why should somebody buy your stock?
Yeah, like I think really the core opportunity is that we're a very fairly valued today platform for investment in the energy metal space. The way that we often like to determine is that I think you have a whole generation of investors over the past 5, 6 years that really have gotten into the markets. They haven't been exposed to the junior resource space. Really, I think we all believe that we're in this space where junior resources are going to be one of the only asset classes that has any upside over the next, call it, 12, 24, 36 months. And with that, we just want to be that platform that caters to that new investor, that person who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience investing in natural resources. And exploration really is kind of the biggest potential upside. So you're investing early, you're getting very fair valuation, and there's massive upside based upon discovery. And we're not only a platform where you're investing in one thing, you're investing in a de-risked portfolio of assets. So we're deploying capital actively across all these properties. That gives you an opportunity for multiple kicks of the can. You're not just investing in one option or one opportunity that might not work out, whereas we have a couple opportunities, and if one or two of them don't work out, we still have massive upside on one of them, so one or two of them. So it gives that kind of optionality, that risk, kind of risk off, so which is what we're really trying to focus on.
Awesome, Zayn. Well, thank you, guys. Like just to recap here for our Canadian investors, it's GEMS.CN, the trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange. Over the counter in the US, GEMSF. Any questions, comments, leave them below. Reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer them. Zayn, thank you so much, man. It's great to talk to you.
Great talking to you. Thanks.